What's happening, guys? Grizno here, and I think Wednesday is gonna start being the normal upload day for Kid Up from now on, because I just find it a little too hectic to try and get all this done over the weekend. My girlfriend is in university, which means she goes to school all week, and the weekend is usually the only time we have to spend together. So that being said, I think I'm gonna change Kid Up episodes to Wednesdays, so I can start getting them out on time, because once again, I'm late this week, and I apologize for that, guys. But let's not waste too much time and get right into this week's episode, which features actually the first comparison episode of Kid Up. I don't plan on making a habit of this, but I blew it again this week by messing up the requesters setup. So on the last episode, Jose Rubino left this comment, which says, "Old-fashioned Russian." I like it. I like the name. And what he asked for was the RPK-74m, no camo of course, because we're old-fashioned, muzzle brake, and a PKAS optic. He let me choose between grip or bipod, so I chose the folding grip because it was the only one I had unlocked at the time. And to round it out, he says any perk choice, C4 and ammo pack, and the MP-412 Rex for my sidearm. So here is where I blew it. I must have confused the two because I ended up playing with the RPK-12 the whole time instead of the RPK-74m. So since I done goofed, I decided I'd do a comparison between the two and try and save face. The gameplay, however, is all RPK-12, so we'll just be comparing them statistically. I hope that is okay, Jose, and alright, here we go. So let's take a look at the stats on both the RPK-12 and RPK-74m from simfig.com, and we'll look at the advantages and disadvantages of each weapon. So they both have the same damage model at 25 max and 18 minimum, and they both have the same rate of fire at 600 rounds per minute. The first big difference comes in the magazine size, with the RPK-12 having a total round capacity of 61, while the RPK-74m having a total of only 46 rounds. Reload times on the RPK-12 are 3.5 seconds when empty and 2.4 seconds with the round still in the chamber, while the RPK-74m's reload times are 4.5 seconds when empty and 3.6 seconds while still containing a round in the chamber. So again, the RPK-12 beats the RPK-74m in this category. One aspect the RPK-74m does hold an advantage in over the RPK-12 is the bullet velocity. The RPK-74m fires at 600 meters per second, while the RPK-12 fires at only 580 meters per second. This may not seem like a huge difference, but it kind of is because it fires at a full 20 meters per second faster. So these two fellas here are best used at medium to long range engagements. You don't want to be running around hip firing everywhere with these weapons because you will quite simply not have a good time. I kind of pulled it off a few times, but in truth, the hip fire accuracy is really bad on both these weapons. So ideally, you want to have time to fully bring up your sights before firing, otherwise you're going to maintain this horrible hip fire accuracy, and that's definitely not what you want. So the RPK-74m having the higher bullet velocity, it does give you the advantage of not having to lead your targets as much if they are at distance and on the move. And seeing how these weapons are best used at a distance, this is something to consider when choosing between the two. Moving on to the attachments, I really liked the PKA sight choice. I found it very good for all ranges, having that 1x magnification. It might not seem like much when you think about it, but it does really help out a lot for those medium and long range engagements. The muzzle brake also helps out a bit, providing a bit more stability and less recoil, although that is something worth mentioning about both of these weapons, is that the recoil itself naked is very minimal and mostly vertical, so it's really not hard to counter it by simply pulling down on your mouse, or up in my case being inverted and all. Old school gamer, yo. But yeah, it's very easy to manage and counter the recoil on both of these weapons, so it's really up to you whether or not you want to run with a muzzle brake or compensator. I personally don't think it needs it, but with the grip I was using, the folding grip, it actually came in handy. So I was using the folding grip, like I mentioned before. I got it out of a battle pack, obviously, but the folding grip works like the angled grip does by reducing the amount of first shot recoil. So when you're using a grip like the angled or folding, you really want to burst or tap fire whatever weapon you're using it on, because this is going to maximize the purpose of the folding grip. Burst and tap firing will keep you within that first couple of shots each time that these grips help reduce the recoil on. And all this is going to really work in your favor if you stay back a little bit behind your teammates and try to keep those engagements to longer ranges. Now, if I were to make a few modifications to this loadout suggested by Jose, I'd probably swap out the folding grip for a stubby and also run with a laser sight. But that's because I like to be on the front lines, so to speak, in my playstyle. I like to be up in the enemy's faces, putting pressure on them. So personally, I value accuracy on the move over first shot recoil reduction, especially on either one of these weapons, as they really do have very low and manageable recoil to begin with. If you want to run the angled or folding grips and stay back a bit, I think these weapons would really benefit from the heavy barrel. Again, you want to be burst and tap firing though, because if you use this combination, the heavy barrel does add recoil back to what the grip takes away. I also think that running a red dot sight and having a 2x magnifier as your accessory could be very effective at medium and long ranges as well. Having that extra magnification option can really help you out when you're putting these weapons' basic core capabilities to use, which is medium and long range engagement. As for the rest of the kit, obviously I like the C4 and ammo pack combination because you can do what the Recon can't, and that is replenish your C4 supply all by yourself. So I definitely put this to good use a couple times by taking out tanks and other vehicles with the C4 and then replenishing my supply myself. As for the Rex though, I did use it a little bit, and it's a really great pistol, very powerful, and we usually drop guys in 2 shots to the chest, but that hammer delay mechanic can be kind of annoying at first, so I would recommend practicing with it a bit for sure. I'm sorry I didn't include any kills with the Rex here, but there weren't many to choose from. I didn't use it that much, and they sort of came at boring times, so I didn't include them. But just so you know, it's more of an advanced pistol, and you should definitely practice a bit with it before you use it, so you can get that hammer delay timing down, because it was messing me up majorly at first. Anyways guys, that about does it for this week's episode of Kit Up. In my personal opinion, I like the RPK-12 a little better than the 74M, but it's really like comparing Mac apples and Granny Smiths. It's a personal preference thing, and it's really going to come down to you just trying both of these weapons out and seeing which one fits your playstyle better. But that's my time for this week, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and you'd like to show it a little love, you can do so by hitting that like button down below. I always appreciate it. And don't forget to leave me your suggestion for next week's episode in the comments down below. Subscribe if you're new around here. We'd love to have you join us here in Grizz Nation. And for an extra bonus clip of the RPK-12 in action, check out my last video. It was so epic, I had to use it in its own video. It just couldn't be part of this episode. It would have been an injustice to the clip. So check it out, guys. You can check it out here. Thank you all once again for watching and for all your support as always. My name is Grizno. I'll see ya.